So what exact questions are we going to try to answer? Discussion. All of them. So let's specify a little bit. Oh yeah, the booby trap. You didn't want to do it in this one because we only have a day.
Mm-hmm. I do remember that part.
Yeah. So one of the questions I think I'd like to answer, or try to answer tonight, is what does it mean? Specifically. Oh, we did stay in the booby trap.
Thinking.
Yeah. What does it mean, all of these things? Hello, Derek Quinn. Hey, guys, watching from Western Australia. Wow. Lazy Sunday morning here. Hey, that's awesome, man. Welcome from Australia.
Uh-huh.
Also, kind of jealous, not going to lie. I guess we took all the stuff we had with us. Well, we'll just take all that, too.
Are you jealous that it's Sunday morning or that he's in Australia?
Mostly that he's in Australia because it's awesome there.
I mean, I've never been. However, TV tells me that there's terrifying animals that will eat. I mean, there is here too, I guess. I mean, we got like bears, wild boars, copperheads.
For reference, we're in the American state of Arkansas, where we have black bears, grizzly bears, mountain lions.
I found a crack-a-book.
Oh, what's up, Rick? Not going to be able to hang. My internet is under the weather. Been trying to figure out who Ghislaine was trafficking people to. Yeah. So we were looking at a lot of this. We researched a good bit today. It's a discussion we've had several times and so on. But so a lot of what we found is the ladies that came forward that were trafficked very much were recruited specifically by Ghislaine for Jeffrey. And we're trying to figure out what that goal was. But, I mean, we're also curious what y'all think. Because we're just two minds. Oh, come on, pig. Yeah, the distractions are going to be real today. One of the really big issues that we did come across trying to figure Ghislaine out was why she was involved. Like, did she just fall for Jeffrey? Or is there, like, was she the actual mastermind?
Okay, so for the record, I'm really bad with names. Is that the girlfriend?
Yes, Ghislaine Maxwell, yeah, the girlfriend.
There's another zombie somewhere. And I don't know where.
So, well, what do you got?
So, she was either the mastermind, or it was like a Stockholm Syndrome type thing, and she was his first victim.
Ooh, that's a good theory.
Ooh, we should check their ages. I wonder how old they are.
He was 66 when he died.
What about her?
I don't know how old she is.
Like, I wonder if she's significantly younger than him. I got the gas can schematic.
Let me get to safety and I'll look. I don't think so, though. I think they're roughly the same age, but I'll look. She might be 20 years younger. I don't know. He didn't look 66 to me. Oh, you should really turn that night vision off. That is awful.
Well, I couldn't see with it on. Oh, now it's all clear, too. Make a liar out of me, why don't you?
I did. I'm just kidding. How old is... There it is. 62.
Oh, well, then probably not first victim.
Probably not. So, allegedly, she met him through a mutual friend in 91. Her dad. Oh, my God. I forgot her dad has some stuff around him, too.
Okay, you're going to have to figure out how to multitask a little bit better and research a little bit less. You should have done your homework.
I mean, maybe.
I got you the gas can schematic as well.
Oh, okay. Maybe somebody knows. Her dad was actually pretty famous. Used to own several British newspaper. Pretty shady overall. Yeah, so like, there was something like somebody. I think they think he was murdered. That seems to be a thing that I remember. I forgot to research her dad. Oh, I forgot about that. But is that like? Well, so like, the thing with Maxwell that a lot of people didn't seem to understand was that her. Okay, so her like whole business officially was she ran a submarine. And so, you know, the Virgin Islands where Epstein Island is and all that is at the end of Florida. It's after the Florida Keys, the little islands there. So that's how they got people, like her list, her ledger is actually submarines more than flight logs. Oddly as that sounds. And so, like, one of the things I came across a while back, if you want to Google this, you're welcome to, public record, especially for public officials, they have to share all their finances. So Joe Biden, there was like the rumor that he owned the island next to Epstein. Well, at one time he did. That is public record. He doesn't now. However, if you look at what he does own, he owned the island, then sold it to his brother. His brother sold it, I can't remember the name, but to Biden's first ever campaign manager like 50 years ago, back when he was part of the Klan. Bet you didn't know that.
I did.
Yeah, Biden was part of the Ku Klux Klan, if you didn't know. Anyway, his mentor was Senator Byrd, who was the Grand Dragon, I think they call him, of the Klan. Whoever the head honcho is. Anyway.
Big man on the totem pole.
Yeah. So then after Biden's brother sold that island to his original campaign manager, Biden then bought a house again on that island, which he still owns. It is exactly 6 miles from Little St. James Island, the Epstein Island. You can find that, take you about 30 minutes.
A little bit of burying the hatch there.
Yeah. Okay, look, I'm going to throw this out there. When I was in the police academy, there was an FBI lawyer that came to our academy for like 5 weeks to teach us stuff. I am very much a nerd. I sat with that guy every day for those 5 weeks for lunch.
No, not you.
Did you do this house already? Yeah, you did. You're going the same way. I'm going a different way. So anyway, he told me, he goes, man, never follow the conspiracy, follow the money. If you can't find anything with the money, then follow your conspiracy. He's like, almost everybody's about money. There's only a few psychos in the world. As much as you don't want to believe that, there's really only a few. So that's what he told me. Anyway, so I follow the money. And that's what I'm trying to figure out with Epstein in particular. Thus, if we look at the money, we have notes. Can I have the notes? As you're dying, hold on.
I'm a little busy.
Yeah, you do you. I would have got up. We have like a flow chart, which I knew how to like show that.
Yeah.
I guess I can turn the webcam on if maybe need be. If anybody wants to nerd out with us.
If anybody wants to nerd out.
So
funny.
Some people that were on the list that also have a lot of monetary things going on. Oh, am I getting attacked by something? I don't know.
No, I think it's me.
Well, I'm hunted. I just don't know from where.
To the left, to the left.
Yeah. Anyway, so one of the guys on the list that's come out, the Epstein list, is Thomas Pritzker. I didn't really find much on him. And he's on the list, but he wasn't named by anybody that I found as far as one of the offenders. But he did donate $16.6 million to Hillary's campaign in 2016. Just him.
That's not suspicious at all.
Yeah, these super PACs, man. It's technically illegal, but they can do it with the super PACs. Stupid. Well, I don't have a wrench. Ain't that dumb.
I have 2 of them. How far from me are you? I have other things for you too.
I don't know. I think we went different directions. Yeah, so it's fine. It's fine.
I was trying to offload some of my junk.
So we had Pritzker who gave money, and then we start getting into some pretty interesting stuff, right? Y'all probably know about the Wayfair thing, the furniture place.
Was it though?
I mean, it still is a furniture place. They're still in business. Allegedly, it was all just a computer glitch. Just happened to match the names of a bunch of missing children that were named Yuritska. Anyway, just throwing that out there. So,
I mean, that might sound fishy to us because we've never met anybody named Yuritska. But maybe it's a very common name in some other place that's not here.
I mean, I guess I'll give you that.
I mean, it sounds very Russian.
I don't know.
I think I'm fixing to die. It's very scary sounding here. I don't see anybody.
So we had Yuritska and the Wayfair thing. If you're not aware of that, basically the theory is that Wayfair was being used as a vessel to basically traffic the kids anywhere else, because you'd see like a piece of furniture or a pillow for like 10 grand to 20 grand. Little
Don't
shady.
Be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Yeah, it's kind of whatever. So then we get down to this next option where we have the Clinton Foundation, right? And so that seems a little strange at first. But the Clinton Foundation has this whole orphanage in Haiti, and
Oh
they got
my
a.
God, for real.
That's probably the. But the organization in Haiti, it's a orphanage, and they have a bunch of kids go missing all the time. Nothing's really been proven or connected there. I'm just throwing it out there. And the reason I'm throwing it out there, Clinton said he only ever rode with Epstein 5 times on his plane, but we know he rode at least like 70 times, going by some of the flight logs. I'm sorry, not 70, 27, but up to 70 times. And he was with Epstein on several occasions, working on the Clinton Foundation stuff. What say you, madam?
What?
Any thoughts on that so far? I'm trying to, like...
I mean, it's pretty obvious that Clinton is like 110% involved. Anybody who doesn't think he is probably not very smart.
How dare you? No, I mean,
I want to apologize for being offensive, but I'm not sorry, so I won't. I don't know what you want from me.
So, I mean, it's hard to test, right? I mean, they're like, oh, who was that?
What was the guy's name that visited Epstein just before he mysteriously killed himself?
Oh, I don't know.
He was part of the Clinton Foundation. I can't think of his name. Like, he worked for the Clintons. He visited Epstein like 2 or 3 days before he mysteriously decided that even though he's been a pedophile for, 60 years and got away with it, that suddenly he can't handle the pressure. Also, I'd like to point out that the first time that he was arrested for being a pedophile in 2008, he only served 13 months. 13. So, first of all, I wonder why he reoffended.
Well, so I found some stuff on that because I knew you were so upset about it. So, the guy that...
You need to go to the bank.
Yeah, I'm headed that way. The guy that prosecuted Epstein, by the way, I've got his name down here. His name was Alexander Acosta, is the one that garnered that deal. So here's the fishiest part, right? It was a pretty weak deal, right? Like for the prosecution side. However, the weakest part or the strangest part is that part of the deal was that no one else would get prosecuted for it. So they couldn't bring in anybody else for prosecution.
So he took the 13 months and covered it up for the whole rest of the ring?
Yep.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right? That's a shady deal right there.
Is he the one that spent his time in a hospital instead of an actual prison too, or was that somebody else?
No, that was Wiener. Andrew Wiener, was that his name?
Something like that.
Yeah, we got it wrote down in here somewhere.
No. Wiener.
Yeah, Anthony Wiener. He did the 21 months in a...
Is it Wiener or Weiner?
It might be. I don't know. It's German or Polish. I'm just saying Wiener because that's what it should be. I mean, they may not go back by that. I don't know. Oh, hey. I thought you were just a really fast zombie for a minute. It kind of freaked me out.
I mean, anything could happen. We got 45 minutes. Hey. You want to come to this box because I have things for you.
I will be there when it's 2200.
Want you, and I want you now.
I mean...
Do you want the higher leveled wrench, or do you want the wrench that has more life?
Oh, I don't care. A wrench is a wrench. There's stuff in here. Yeah, there's gas in there. Nope, there's my entrance. That's right, we prepped this last time. So that's where we start, right? So 2008, Epstein is actually convicted of a sex crime he committed in 2005, I think it is.
Somewhere between 3 and 5.
Yeah, 2005. So he has some other issues that pop up. Oh, no. All right. Oh, that's right. I can do that. I guess that's for me.
All 3 of the bottom things on the bottom.
All right, there we go. All right. So 2005 or 2008, he gets convicted. He is a registered sex offender. So let's just talk about Epstein for a minute as far as like his background. He was a teacher hired in his very early 20s.
With no college education.
Yeah, he had nothing.
He was in 2 separate schools that he dropped out of both of them. Anyways, he was hired as a teacher with no experience, no education, a private school, where he was employed for 2 years and then let go for, what was it?
Underperforming.
Yeah. No any kind of records that we could find as to what actually he was let go for, but they said it was poor performance.
Yeah, so I went through and I dug in quite a bit on these students that he had and that remembered him. And I found a couple articles where they actually went and spoke to some of the students. So none of them would say anything directly. Most of them said he was very, very flirty, especially with female students. And then a couple of them said, it was the 70s and that was, the hippie movement. And so students being with their teachers was kind of like a thing, like a not so well kept secret. No one seemed to really care.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal, but it was frowned upon.
So then I looked further, and I forgot to write his name down. There was this older guy who's he's like in his 90s, maybe pushing 100 now if he's still alive. But he was like, him and Epstein were like best friends, and he was an art dealer. And he talks about how his friend Epstein really had an issue with, well, really he was a sex addict is what he says. And he always worried about his friend with that because he knew it was a bad thing. And it was something that he just couldn't seem to control, but he thought he had it at least, where he wasn't offending with underage anybody. Obviously, that's not the case.
Boy, was he wrong.
Yeah. So we have that pattern of behavior, and so we kind of get an idea of who Epstein was on that front. But imagine this, right? Like, imagine you're Epstein for a minute. I know it's gross. Anyway, you have this problem, but you're really good at math. He was a math teacher, by the way. And he actually was one of the best financiers, right? So he helped businesses stop sucking. He was actually known as quite the genius when it came to that part. But he did, from what other people said anyways, that he thought he was smarter than he was in other realms, like science, which he apparently knew nothing about.
Which is funny, because math and science kind of go hand in hand a lot of the time.
Yeah, but you got to be able to theorize, right? Think outside the box and stuff.
He was thinking outside somebody's box.
They're thinking about their box. So anyway, he decides he's going to make this business. And he does, right? And so in a couple of these things, like he starts going, he gets, he really makes his name helping businesses get better, is what it looks like.
I feel like you're moving outside the school yet. I'm not done with that part of the conversation.
Oh, go ahead, do the school.
So the thing that blew my mind the most about this, because, I mean, as far as the being hired at a school thing, like, he wasn't a pedophile at the time, so you can't really hold that against him. They didn't know. But...
I'm just saying, if you didn't know the name.
Oh, okay. So the person who was in charge of the school when Epstein was hired, his name was Donald Barr. And guess who his son was? I don't remember his son's name. William Barr. His son was William Barr. You know who the freaking attorney general was when Epstein's crap hit the fan? Yep, there you go. It's not a strange coincidence, is it?
Yeah, and he was in charge of Epstein's case. So here's a little twist about William Barr that maybe nobody knows or thinks about. He was in the CIA. That's what he did before he was a U.S. attorney, right? Attorney General, rather. So now, here's where I'm going to go with this, because of the timeline. Hippies, right? MK Ultra. Do you know what MK Ultra is?
I have no idea what that is. Is it a drug? That sounds like a drug.
So MK Ultra is the program based around it, LSD. Yeah. So let me just throw this out there. One of the most secretive things until very recently when it was declassified. These guys, the CIA agents, they didn't know what to do, but they were looking for a perfect truth serum to help with the Cold War. And so they went through this whole ordeal where they would like blindly test each other with LSD. They would just drop it in like people's coffee or whatever in the morning, and they're like, "Hey, Carl, you're going to need the day off." Like, that's what they did. Could
you imagine?
Oh, I know, right? Now, this got really bad. So, like, one guy ended up, like a CIA agent, yeeted himself out a window and died. And, like, 30, 40 years later, they finally decided to own up to it. And they paid the family, like, $180,000, $780,000, something like that. So, here's the crazy...
I have some family members that could jump out a window.
Well, I'm going to go into MK Ultra a bit because I'm going to try to make a point, right? So, I don't know that Barr was part of that. However, he was in the CIA. That was something going on at the time. And part of that was to recruit young people. So like Charles Manson, he's part of MK Ultra. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, part of MK Ultra, though he wasn't in part of the part that was LSD. Manson was. So we go through this whole hippie period, and with the hippie period, we have a bunch of young college and high school students, because they are the most impressionable when it comes to culty stuff, right?
Oh,
So that's what they're going for. And we have this whole free love movement. You know, everybody was like, hey, fight the war or whatever, you know, in Vietnam.
power to the people.
Right, and that's stuck after Vietnam, too. Hippies were a thing for a little while. So we have all of this MK Ultra stuff going on. William Barr with the CIA, blah, blah, blah. Why wouldn't Epstein be part of this recruitment process? Or use the same methods of the recruitment process to get these young people, right?
Oh my.
See where I'm going with this?
I do.
So then if William Barr is then the Attorney General, did he order the hit on Epstein, if it was a hit? Or did he give him the ultimatum? Kill yourself or I'm going to make your life really bad. Like, you think LSD was bad in the 70s, right? Like, Albert Hoffman made it on accident, trying to, like, isolate psilocybin makes LSD. Yeah.
I can totally see where you're going with the whole LSD thing and whatnot. But since you brought it up, is there any question in your mind whether or not it was suicide or a hit? Like,
well, I mean, not really, but I don't know. I mean, but we'd have to go into the whole Hillary Clinton thing there, and this isn't about her today. Yeah, Bill's there, but Hillary's really not. We could go into a lot with Hillary. Maybe one day if this works.
Well,
out.
I mean, there's a lot of people though, not necessarily just, you know, the Clintons or whatever, but there's a lot of people who had something at stake that could have wanted his head on a platter. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody loved him. I mean, except for the abuse victims. Which, I mean, we should talk about them. Right? So, like, the main one that came forward is Virginia Guffrey. I think it's Roberts Guffrey, or Guffrey Roberts, but Virginia Guffrey is the one that did most of this testimony. We'll get into Johanna Soberg as well in a bit. But so, Virginia Guffrey, she is recruited from Mar-a-Lago at age 17. That was Trump's place. To audition as the traveling masseuse for Epstein. She spends 2 years in this sex ring. She does name Bill Clinton there. She said something along the lines of he was not a faithful guy to his wife, that she never actually did anything with him, but he always had 2 girls under his arm, something like that. So then we get into Al Gore. She said he was faithful to his wife. He was just there. So there's that, right? I mean, not everybody's terrible, I guess. Which begs the question, did they know about it, right? I'm going to get into my own theory on Epstein at the end of this, by the way. I have a theory about it.
Okay.
You're probably going to piss everybody off. But anyway, I have a theory.
Better be pissed off and pissed on.
Yeah, it's true. So she also says that Epstein at one point came to her and says, hey, you've made a name for yourself. You're still going to have to do the work that I'm having you do, but I want you to have my child. And if you agree to this, then you will have to sign some paperwork that says Ghislaine will be the mother as far as rights go, and that you have to bring the child to me anytime I ask.
Oh, could you imagine being presented with that?
Oh, it's terrible.
Like, I realize that, I mean, in the participating people here, because nobody's commenting, I can't read your comments because they're too far away and I'm blind, but I can tell that that's not moving. Being the only female here, like, there is no way
And a mother.
in hell I would ever consent to that, because you know that baby would have been the next victim had it been a female.
I mean, maybe,
Like,
but
even considering Stockholm Syndrome and stuff, I realize that's a very real thing, but I don't think I could do it. I've already read that.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure.
You do.
Of course I pay attention. I'm a multitasker. But could you imagine the thoughts that went through that poor girl's head? Like,
So I do want to talk about that, specifically her. And there's a reason. Like, so, oh no, sorry. She, there's some weird stuff, man. Can you make me an iron pickaxe, please? Should be some forged iron in there, I think. We didn't take it with us.
I thought you went back.
I did. Oh, you know what? I think we left the stuff there, right? Because we were gonna go back and get it or something.
I thought you just went back like a few minutes ago.
I didn't go back to the original base. I went back to the second base.
I'm so confused with life right
Oh.
now.
Anyway, she worked for him for 2 years. Yeah, she did some bad stuff, but on the same token, she was.
She was groomed.
She was. I mean, she was kind of like their best employee. I don't know if that's the best way to say that, but I mean, that seemed to be what she was doing.
Right. Well, I mean, she was getting paid to be there, but she didn't know anything else. You know?
Well, that's true, yeah.
She
But
was 17, and God only knows what her life was like beforehand, you know?
Well, and she was just a server, I think, at Mar-a-Lago. Pretty girl. That's probably why they picked her. So then we can get, so that's one victim, right? So then we get into Johanna Soberg. I didn't find a whole lot from her other than she was recruited by Maxwell, of course, and she was hired originally to work in Epstein's home and then eventually give him quote unquote massages, which they both claimed that was code for sex. They did have a slip up, which is why I wanted to get into them. Now, Johanna Soberg did bring in that while she was on the plane with Epstein, they had to, because of weather, they had to do a landing, like an emergency landing type thing, and so they called Trump. Now, this is in the 90s, mind you, and I'm throwing this out there because most of these people denounced and separated from Epstein before 2003, and most of his offenses start from 2002 to 2005. Now, I brought up 2003 in particular because that's Bill Clinton. We're going to come back to him. There's a lot of things connected there. But what we do have is another person who they tried to make a victim. I mean, they did assault her, but so Maria Farmer gets invited to this Ohio home, like mansion thing by Epstein. Doesn't know any better, allegedly. And the house they go to belongs to Leslie Vexner. If you don't know who that is, he owns Bath Body Works, and more importantly, Victoria's Secret. Interesting thing there, right? So with that, Vexner had hired Epstein's.
Oh my God.
You just make that connection?
No, I made another connection. You know what is a sub company or whatever of Victoria's Secret?
Pink?
Pink. Do you know what Pink is marketed towards?
Children?
Teenage girls.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm a little slow.
No, it's fine. That's a good connection.
You know who models teenage girls' clothes? Teenage girls.
You know whose type was teenage girls?
All of these freaking freaks.
Yeah. So Vexner, well, what happens with Farmer, though, is her and her little sister.
Oh my God, we had a box in here and I found the iron.
Oh, where's.
You're welcome.
Oh, the bathroom in case we got stuck. That's right.
Lovely.
So.
Anyways.
So with Farmer, I took a bunch of stuff. I'm just going to throw it there. So Farmer takes her little sister with her. They go to this place in Ohio, Vexner's place, and basically they try to assault her. She freaks out. She gets stopped by a bunch of guards, and then they're like, they finally let her go, but her little sister had already been assaulted. Unfortunate ordeal, very. With all that, I do have a question. So Victoria's Secret Pink models, right? So we have this other guy. I could not find a connection. Maybe somebody else knows one. We had Jean-Luc Brunel, who recruited models. It was like his actual job. And then he would farm. He was actually found to farm girls out that he recruited. And he was also found of committing suicide after...
He was arrested and put in prison in, was it Paris, maybe?
Oh, I don't know where he was. Probably not. It's probably America.
No, it was some other country. I'm pretty sure it was.
Oh, was it?
I'm pretty sure it was Paris.
Oh, okay.
He was...
So we have, I mean, that seems like a pretty odd connection, right? Like, did you make that pickaxe already?
It has 6 seconds left.
All right, I'm
Put
coming.
it in
I'll find you.
the gun box, right?
Okay, thank you.
And I guess I don't need to head back to the other base since we found our stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
But anyways, he also committed suicide by hanging.
Yeah. Kind of strange. Furthermore, we get into... Oh, how far do I want to go with this? So, you know, I'm all about the truth here, so I'm just throwing this out there. I don't want to aggravate you. I know you like the guy, but Donald Trump. So no allegations against him. No one ever said anything. He was just present for a couple things. But the same guy that gave Epstein his first deal became the labor secretary for Trump during his presidency. And then after Epstein was arrested again, people started criticizing that deal, right? And he resigned. That's literally it, though. You have the Mar-a-Lago, where a lot of the girls that have come forward were recruited from, including Guthrie. And then you have Acosta that worked for him. I don't know what that means for Trump, but
means that all those dirty suckers are connected in some way or another, and money is power. That's what that means.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's any damning evidence for him. It doesn't look good. I don't know where these zombies are going. Whatever, I'll kill this one.
Ah, popped your head, lady.
Anyway, moving on. We got... Oh, man, where all do we want to go?
Zombie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's
you're
a
doing
crawler.
things.
Yeah. So, to throw this out there, we have, of course, the Prince Andrew thing. We'll go ahead and take care of our friends under the royal scope. Oh, Prince Andrew. So, I found some interesting stuff on him. Primarily that he apparently has a really weird kink. Anyway.
Okay, so, first of all, is he even considered a prince anymore? Wasn't he basically...
He lost most of his stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but what is this weird kink? Because you've got my curiosity piqued.
Well, let me start how they met. So his ex-girlfriend is Lady Victoria Harvey. I know nothing else about Miss Harvey. However, she was very good friends, or is very good friends, with Ghislaine Maxwell. That friendship is what brought the royal family, or at least Andrew anyway, into this mess. Virginia Guthrie said she was forced to do things with Prince Andrew. She also, by the way, was forced to do things with Epstein and Maxwell, sometimes at the same time, but most often with Epstein. So the big thing with the kink, since we'll get there, was somebody had a doll made that looked like him, like Prince Andrew. And
was that the puppet?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, this little puppet thing is sitting there, and I believe it was Ghislaine Maxwell, or it might have been the lady, whatever her name is, Harvey. I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was Maxwell.
But yeah, like has the puppet in her lap, and then Guthrie had to sit in Andrew's lap. And so the only part of the story that was released was that when Maxwell put the puppet's hand on her own breast, then Andrew had to put his hand on Guthrie's breast.
I mean, I didn't put it together that was a kink, but a puppet?
Yeah, and a puppet of yourself.
Yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah, it is.
Like, what is wrong with people?
Oh, so much. So, other people that Guthrie had talked about.
Anybody know where I was going?
No. We'll start with the small fry, Bill Richardson. So, Bill Richardson was on the list and named by Guthrie as somebody she was forced to be with. And he was the energy secretary for Bill Clinton. Told you we were going to get into Bill. We're gonna ease into it.
Oh, my language.
Hey, I got a mini bike book.
Oh, nice.
So
I don't think it's fair to ease into it. Just saying.
Well,
I feel like you should just ram it in hard.
Wow. Considering the topic we're addressing here, that's a bit much. Come on, here, piggy. Ooh.
All right, so this house has already been looted, so I'm gonna exit the building.
So we get into George Mitchell, and we're gonna get into this a little bit more with him. So George Mitchell, he was the envoy. If you don't know what an envoy is, they're like the representative for the country. They're usually the ones that are, ambassadors or whatever for Bill Clinton as well. He was also a hotel owner. Who else I got in here? Yeah, so then we have those two political contacts, directly political. Bill Clinton's advisor, his closest advisor, Doug Band, was on the list. I don't remember finding anything that he was associated directly with any of the acts. We also then have Alan Dershowitz, who's a lawyer, and as the lawyer of Epstein directly, when Bill Clinton was being impeached, right, for Monica Lewinsky, guess who advised him and helped his counsel with that trial? It was Dershowitz. So then furthermore with Dershowitz, he is also implicated as being one of the people that Guthrie was forced to do stuff with.
Wow.
We have this whole inner circle, right? That y'all starting to see the picture?
Right. And I mean, yeah, it's a small world, but it's not quite that small.
Right. Oh, I did forget to mention that with the school thing, when Epstein was being questioned, he pled the fifth and refused to talk about whether or not he'd ever slept with any of his students.
So I actually read the transcripts on that interview, and that's not necessarily correct. He was asked, "Did you ever sleep with any of your students?" And he said, "While I was teaching." And they said, for this line of questioning, let's go with yes. And he said, "No, not while I was teaching." And they asked if he slept with any of his former students, and he said, "I don't remember."
Oh. So what I read said he pled the fifth, like the 8th, the 14th, like everything. Oh, I got it.
However, I mean, that's when it started, right? Like, he was getting attention from all them girls, and that's where it all began.
I mean, yeah, I think so, right? Like, you probably, everybody's got their kink or whatever, but when you got some attention for it, just kind of reinforced it.
Yeah. Well, also, like, power. Like, people who take advantage of other people, they do it because they have some sort of control issues, right? Like,
yeah, generally.
And they gave him power. They made him a teacher, and he enjoyed having the control. Like, he enjoyed being the boss, and he just took it to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
All right, I think I got rid of all the zombies in here. It's such a tangled web.
Oh, there's more. There's a lot more.
It's terrifying.
So I came across, he had 2 butlers, because he had multiple locations. He actually probably had more butlers, but I found 2 that actually spoke, right? So one of them basically just confirmed that he saw a bunch of stuff that happened, right? I didn't really see much point in that one. Like, he didn't tell anybody anything he didn't already know. Oh, by the way, we need to find a new home for tonight. We can't stay there again.
Yes, dear.
So his other butler, the one that was more interesting, was Alfredo Rodriguez. And let me tell you, Google tried really hard to not let me find anything on Alfredo Rodriguez. I know that sounds really conspiracy theory-like, and it probably, whatever, probably is. But the thing that was interesting to me about that is it brought up every Albert, Alfonso, Alberta, any Rodriguez that started with an A before it would bring up this guy. Like, I had to really specify my search. I had to get on DuckDuckGo. I couldn't use my regular one. Search engine. Like, it was a lot.
Well, that's not shady at all.
I know, right? So he had Epstein's black book, which he kept and tried to sell to the victim's attorneys for $50,000, which got him promptly arrested, essentially for not coming forward with the information. He was withholding evidence. I don't know if you'd call it a good arrest or not, but the guy basically said, "Hey, man, these are powerful people, and I don't know what's going to happen to me." So Alfonso went to prison. He did get out of prison. He wasn't shady killed or anything. He died of mesothelioma when he got out. Kind of a sad death. But, yeah.
What do I do?
So then, we get into... What am I... Oh, that crap, yeah. Is that what I... Yeah. Who's next? Ah, yes. Bill Clinton. Let's get into Bill now. Oh, I'm going to need to, get somewhere safe for a minute. I'm staying in this car.
We got anybody still hanging out with us?
Yeah, there's one. So we got Bill Clinton, who is said to be like brothers to Jeffrey Epstein. He was also close friends with Ghislaine Maxwell. There's many pictures everywhere. In fact, even the screenshot for this was from pictures of them both together. Well, one of them's from them together. He quoted that that Jeffrey Epstein was a gifted financier and philanthropist, meaning that he was good for people. Anyway, and then Epstein said that Bill Clinton was the world's greatest politician, which is not a compliment in my eyes, but that's just me. So he would donate to Bill Clinton's campaign in the 90s, so 92 election. And then he also would loan planes to Clinton and would accompany him to the Clinton Foundation functions when they were trying to set stuff up in other countries, which if we make the connection with Wayfair, that's a whole ordeal.
Holy balls. Mo, what do you know?
So we have, so far, recap, we've got Epstein and Clinton are friends. I'm going to try to make a connection here, all right? You can tell me if I'm crazy or not, because I don't have anything fully substantiating, which if I did, then Hillary'd probably knock on her door or something. But
I don't think she knocks.
Anyway, so we've got a president, we've got Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell working a sex trafficking ring. We've got a president that visited. We've got a former presidential candidate, Al Gore, that visited. We have another former president that knew him, which was Trump. So you see this political circle. Celebrities everywhere, by the way. If you've looked at the list, there's all kinds on there. We got Biden is on the list. He's also, the current president, rather, and the vice president before, Barack Obama's on there. All these people have been on the logs for things with Epstein, whether they were at Island of Little St. James or whatever. Then we have all the stuff in Ukraine. You know what one of the highest trafficked human places is? Russia and Ukraine. Just throwing that out there, especially for women. On top of that, when Bill was in office, a lot of people that were on his staff, right? We talked about George Mitchell and Bill Richardson and Doug Band were all there, right? Now, these are places like with George Mitchell, who was the Northern Ireland envoy, which is part of the United Kingdom, which is part, with England, right? See where I'm going so far?
Yep.
We have international connections going on. And these international connections are lending their way, how do I say that? I guess to a very possible aid in the ring, especially a big ring, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then...
and then there's more.
Yeah. They just fully admit it. Like I said, follow the money, right? I always follow the money. So what I found was, this one's pretty obvious. We have the Epstein Victim Compensation Program. They have so far, since his death, put out $121 million to 135 victims. Now, Guthrie and Soberg and Farmer have all taken settlements instead of going to court. I got another twist to throw in too, by the way, after this bit. So then, on top of that, with no admission of anything, right? So no admission of guilt, no admission of context, nothing. J.P. Morgan Bank and the Deutsche Bank have paid millions in associated lawsuits with Epstein. And I couldn't find any more information than that. I don't know what those are about. If anybody knows, let us know.
Well, they can't possibly be anything good.
Right. So all that money is going out to these victims to shut them up. What it sounds like, right?
Yeah. And from what I've read, the victims who actually got something from that fund, it wasn't anything near what they would have gotten had they...
But it was a sure thing?
Yeah.
Okay. One last little twist before we start putting out theories. Well, this is just all stuff that we found. Googling and researching and reading articles and testimonies and documentation and all that. So, yeah, where all have you been? So I know where not to go. And it's getting kind of midday. Okay, let's find us. We need to start finding us a place to be.
I found a prison.
Can we get in it?
I also found a Shotgun Messiah, which I've already been in. Where there's a couple of ritzy houses that are made of brick. Those would be pretty easy to make for a one night.
Yeah.
Thing. I think maybe we could do the prison for Horde Night. Give us a couple of days to get in it.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, because we're gonna need a better something,
Right. Yeah.
But as far as like tonight, we could just go into a house or whatever.
Okay. Oh, I haven't gone nearly as far as I thought I had. Okay, so just something that I noticed because I pay attention to these things, and I don't even watch the news, by the way. Um, I just peek in every now and again if something strikes my fancy. So when Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested, we didn't hear a damn thing for God knows how, right? Like just nothing. So I started paying attention. I was like, look, I used to be a cop, and when you investigate something and you want to really nail somebody, you're doing drugs, which is mostly what I was investigating. Imagine you have somebody willing to talk and do things. Are you going to just parade them out in front of all the people you're trying to arrest?
Nope. Because
Right.
you don't want them to accidentally hang themselves.
Yeah, you don't want to burn them, right? you don't want to burn your CI, your snitch, whatever. You don't want the bad guy to know, what you're doing.
Yeah, you gotta have a wild card up your sleeve.
So I made the call, like a little prediction. I was like, all right, so either she's gonna hang herself, or we're gonna see some arrests start being made, or best case scenario, we start seeing some kids getting found, right? Sure enough, a couple months after her arrest, it's all quiet in the neighborhood, and then boom, we got like 50,000 kids are found in the United States by the U.S. government.
Yeah, because that's a coincidence, I'm sure.
Right? Yeah. So like it's a crazy amount. Oh, hello, weird chicken. I don't know why I went that way.
Level up.
So there's obviously a big ring. My favorite thing that I'm hoping for is that means we're about to start seeing some people be held accountable for this, right? Like, that makes sense. Like, there's actually going to be some, you're going to jail for being an asshole.
First of all, I feel like it's more than just being an asshole. However, never mind. I don't want to be that person. I'm going to be that person. If they're only going to hand out 18-month sentences, then what's the point? Like, that's why everybody's taking these buyouts. It's because they know that it's a bigger punishment to hit their wallets than it is to put them in jail for 6 months.
Yeah. It is. I don't think you're being any kind of person there. It's just accurate. All right, so we got another problem. Not a problem, but another discussion. What do you think the master plan was? Or is there one?
The master plan of the cover-up, or the scandal, or the ring, or like what?
Like what all's going on? Do you think it's just a pleasure thing? What do you think's happening?
I think it's a pleasure/money thing.
Okay.
If you're into that sort of thing, then obviously, like, your goal is to get away with it, right?
Sure.
You're not gonna get your kicks if you're locked up somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But it's a money thing too, because somebody is trafficking those girls, and they're not doing it for free. Like, right. You're not gonna put yourself in that danger for nothing.
Right.
Somebody's making bank.
Yeah.
What do you think it is?
So mine's a bit more drawn out. Oh, Rick, you're back. Her dad was supposed to have a meeting because he was defaulted on $50 million in loans. He skipped that, got on his yacht, and the Lady Ghislaine. No kidding.
You didn't read the whole thing, I don't think, and I can't see it.
Yeah, I did. That was the whole
okay.
thing. The name of the yacht was Lady Ghislaine. Sorry, I kind of ganked that out. So, this is my theory. Imagine you find a way, without being the politician yourself, to control things. So you're like this really
the puppet master.
Pretty much, but so imagine,
not
right?
Not to get into kinks or anything.
Well, so imagine that you're a really likable guy. Everybody. You got good charisma. It's an obvious thing. You noticed it when you were a high school teacher, and in a private school, which it's a really well-to-do private school too. Sailed to the Canary Islands. No kidding. Interesting. So you're this likable guy. You got charisma. You got to sway with people. You've even made some young versions of friends, right? Like in that realm. Because these are wealthy people's children, right? So then you go and you find out, hey, Bill really likes him young, which is an actual quote, by the way, from one of the testimonies. And they're talking about Bill Clinton. So you're like, hey, Bill, would you like to come party or whatever? And Bill's like, yeah, okay, I'll come party. And so you do that for a week or two, right? Or however many times, 3 or 4 times he comes out, right? You got some prostitutes or whatever, some willing participants. And then maybe the fourth time you're like, hey, Bill, just so you know, she's 14. And that whole thing's recorded. Yeah, that's kind of the reaction they probably had. But the next morning, his naked body is found by the crew. No kidding. Yeah, that's a bit conspicuous.
It's very suspicious.
You see where I'm going with this, though? Like, if you were able to pull that off, and then once you've got one, especially one big fish, you can start bringing in the next fish. You know, hey, Bill, you know, I really think we need to get, you know, some of your people on board, you know, George or whatever.
What's he going to do? Tell you no? You got blackmail on him. That's
right.
a good point.
And so then you start thinking, like, you know what I think would be better? Let's get like the federal. I don't know if this happened or not, but it'd be a fun thing to look into to see if it actually happened, especially what time frame if it did happen. Somebody feel free to fact check me, but or look it up, whatever. You know, did anybody or did the age of consent get lowered or anything like that?
Wait, what?
Something like the age of consent get lowered, or maybe the penalties for sex crimes get lowered. Stuff of that nature is what I'm getting at.
Gotcha.
You could get pretty much what, you know, if that's your purpose. Or maybe you want to run the world a certain way. Maybe you want tax breaks on certain things so that you can help your clients to help you make more money so that you can bring more powerful people into your little ring and then find what their kink is.
Are you in that passing gas?
Yeah.
Is there a workbench?
No.
Boo.
You find their kink and get them in the circle. The next thing you know, you have a whole ass network of very powerful people. And so then you start bringing in scientists and things. And you know what scientists really struggle to get? Money for their funding. So they're going to be at these parties and they're not going to say anything because they need money. So my theory is, this is what the part that's probably going to piss everybody off, is I think Epstein was actually a pretty damn good social scientist.
Dude, I'm doing something.
I think in his own right, he was a sort of genius.
It makes me feel dirty that you just said that.
I know, me too. But, you know, I'm honest.
Eek! I think Mo's got a crush on me. Every time I turn around, he's sneaking up behind me.
He's Epstein. So what say you, madam, of my theory?
I mean, it makes sense. Like, I don't know, though. I mean, you've got a handful of people that are just like, you know, really, like, if anybody was doing that, I think it's the girlfriend that the ship was named after.
Could be.
Like, I don't think anybody else was thinking that far ahead. I think they were thinking a whole different ball game there. But I could see her doing some shady stuff like that. Like, why else would you do that? Like,
well, and maybe so. And she came from that kind of stock. I don't know what Epstein came from, to be honest. So I think he was just kind of a loser. We got to find a place to be.
What?
So,
let's go to this house right here.
Which one is this? It's in the skinny one, so here.
Yep.
My little tint. Okay.
You love my my planning ahead there. Let's
do.
just go to this hole.
That's kind of the point, right? It's not going to be too big of a deal at first, but later on it's going to suck. So we get into higher difficulties. So yeah, I mean, I really think that with all this going on, I think Epstein was just a mastermind of social networking, really. And he got people to do what he wanted them to do with a ridiculous amount of blackmail. Now, we could go into the weird stuff, which I have absolutely zero evidence of, but it's kind of fun to talk about.
You don't think all of this is weird stuff? I'm confused.
Oh, it is, but it's more believable than this other part that I have to talk about.
Okay, let's get down and dirty.
So, okay. We're going to get into Hillary here. My absolute favorite human.
By the way, I just want to throw this out there. Disclaimer, PSA, whatever. If we stop posting or are not here,
we didn't hang ourselves
on next Saturday night. We did not hang ourselves. Neither one of us are suicidal. It was not suicide, homicide, whatever. I know that was the wrong order. You can't do that backwards.
Murder, suicide.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, continue.
So, we'll back up a little bit, right? We got the Freemasons, and if you look at their lore and you look at the really high lore, they like worship. They do these weird rituals, and it appears they worship this thing called Moloch. It's like a demon thing. You can Google that too. It's a fun time. So with this weird demon Moloch thing, anyway, it's mentioned a lot in her leaked emails that came out, and turns out Obama's brother's name is Moloch. Just throwing that out there. So, whatever that means. Anyway, it was about these, like, time to do our contributions to Moloch and stuff type of thing. But a lot of those rituals allegedly call for things like sacrificing of young girls. Gosh. Oh, that needs to come out of there. Like sacrificing of young girls.
I found a bunker.
Oh, nice. The sex acts and things like that, especially with young girls. By the way, there were boys there too. I mean, there's a lot of weird little things that were happening, obviously. But so, rather than it being being necessarily anyway the sex stuff only, what if it was a religious thing?
So, I mean, it could be. However, the Freemasons were more of a politically correct organization. I don't really know, like, how I want to put that, than a religion.
Like I said, when you look at the top tiers, though, they worship this demon thing.
Well, yeah, but I could see the Freemasons being in charge of trying to take over the political side of things with blackmail, like them being the reason for all of it.
So what if, I'm gonna have to look something up. What if Epstein was a Freemason?
Good luck finding it.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure. Secretive
so I found a pop and
organization
pills,
stuff.
but it's snowing and I don't have a coat and my inventory's full. So I'm gonna head back the other way. Also, we need to move at least food and things like that before we start.
I can't be got little skiffs. Oh.
Shot a deer in the booty.
Well, we got a good bit of that out anyway. It was a nice conversation.